There comes a moment in every person's life when they look around and realize that nobody is coming to save them. Nobody is going to walk into their world and hand them peace, success, or purpose on a silver plate, because taking control of your life is not about waiting for the right time. It's about deciding that now is the time. It's about saying, I'm done letting life just happen to me. I'm going to make life happen for me, because everything changes the moment you take ownership, the moment you stop blaming, stop complaining, stop pointing fingers, and start saying, this is my story, my responsibility, my power, my time. Because as long as you believe someone else controls the outcome, you'll never move, you'll never grow, you'll never rise. But the second you understand that it all begins and ends with you, something inside you wakes up, something fierce, something unstoppable, something that refuses to be a victim any longer. Because success doesn't begin when the world believes in you. It begins when you believe in yourself, even when no one claps for you, even when no one sees your effort, even when no one understands your vision. You have to be the one who stands up and says, I'm still going to move, I'm still going to try, I'm still going to build, because control is not about perfection, it's about direction. It's about waking up every morning and choosing to steer your life one small decision at a time, because when you start steering, you start changing your destination. The truth is, most people let life steer them. They wake up and let circumstances dictate their attitude. They let other people's opinions shape their self-worth. They let fear drive their choices, and they wonder why they feel lost, broken, or unfulfilled. But the ones who rise, the ones who win, are those who decide to grab the wheel. They don't wait for perfect weather. They learn to drive through the storm. They learn to navigate the chaos, because control doesn't mean life will be easy. It means you'll be strong enough to keep going when it's not. It means you'll keep showing up even when the road feels endless, even when you're tired, even when success feels far away, because the difference between those who make it and those who don't is not luck. It's ownership, it's attitude, it's the willingness to say, no matter what happens, I'm in charge of what I do next. Taking control of your life begins in your mind. It's because everything you see around you is a reflection of what you think, how you think, and what you believe you deserve. If you think small, your world shrinks. If you think fear, your dreams freeze. But if you think growth, faith, and possibility, your world expands beyond imagination. So guard your thoughts like they are treasure, because they are. Your mind is the soil of your destiny. And every word you plant grows into something real. If you keep planting doubt, you'll reap hesitation. But if you plant courage, discipline, and hope, you'll reap strength, direction, and peace. So every day, choose your thoughts wisely, because you can't live a big life with a small mindset, and you can't unlock success with the same thinking that locked you in fear. People lose control of their lives because they give their power away too easily. They give it to the past, to regrets, to opinions, to social media, to mistakes. But the truth is, what happened yesterday can't stop you unless you let it. And what people say about you can't define you unless you believe it. So stop renting space in your mind to negativity. Evict the doubts. Throw out the fear, lock the door on insecurity, and fill your space with purpose, gratitude, and vision. Because the moment you do, your energy shifts, your confidence rises, and your future starts to open up. Control doesn't mean you can predict everything. It means you can prepare for anything. It means you can face failure and still say, this isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new strategy. It means you can look at rejection and see redirection, because every setback is a setup for growth. Every closed door is pushing you toward the one that was meant for you. And if you stay faithful, if you stay consistent, if you keep your eyes on the vision, life starts to respond differently. Opportunities start to notice your persistence. Blessings start to meet your belief. Because when you act like the driver, not the passenger, the road unfolds under your confidence, not your doubt. So many people wait for permission to start living. They wait for validation, for approval, for someone to say, now is your time. But real power comes when you stop waiting and start doing, because nobody else can walk your path. Nobody else can build your dream. Nobody else can live your purpose. You have to be the one who steps out of the waiting room of life and says, I'm ready to move. I'm ready to take responsibility for my happiness, my peace, my success, because when you wait, you waste. And when you move, you grow. The key to taking control is motion, not emotion, because emotion will make you doubt yourself, but motion will make you discover yourself. And every time you take a step, even a small one, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than your excuses, tougher than your fear, and worthy of the life you want. When you take control, you start to understand that discipline is freedom, not restriction, because the moment you set structure, your chaos starts to calm, your focus sharpens, and your purpose gets louder. And the people who think success is luck have never seen the power of discipline. They don't understand what it means to show up when nobody's watching, to push yourself when nobody claps, to stay late, to wake early, to repeat the process again and again until you see results. Because success isn't built in comfort, it's built in consistency. It's built in the quiet hours when everyone else is sleeping and you're still working on your dream. And the moment you commit to that level of discipline, life begins to open its doors in ways you can't imagine, because life always rewards the one who refuses to quit. Taking control also means taking accountability. It means you stop blaming others for where you are. It means you stop saying, I can't because of them or because of that, and start saying, I will because of me. Because accountability is the seed of power. The more you own your actions, the more control you gain over your outcomes. And it's not about guilt, it's about growth. It's about saying, I did that, I learned that, and now I'm doing better. Because growth can't happen in denial, it happens in awareness. And the moment you accept where you are, you create the possibility to change where you're going. So take ownership of your time, your choices, your habits, because that's where your destiny begins to shift. There will be moments when life tests you, when nothing makes sense, when you feel like you're giving everything and still not getting results. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to let go of control, to drift back into frustration. But those moments are where champions are made, because anyone can take control when things are easy. But real power is staying focused when the storm hits, staying grounded when the noise gets loud, staying faithful when the future looks uncertain, because that's what separates winners from quitters. That's what transforms ordinary into extraordinary. And when you push through those moments, you come out stronger, wiser, more confident, and more prepared for what's next. Because storms don't come to destroy you, they come to strengthen your foundation. If you want to unlock success, you have to stop negotiating with your dreams. You can't say, I'll give effort only when I feel like it, or I'll be focused only when it's easy, because success listens to consistency, not excuses. It's built by showing up on the hard days. It's built by pushing through discomfort, and it's built by choosing growth even when it hurts, because comfort is the enemy of control. When you're comfortable, you stop growing. But when you embrace challenge, you expand your limits. So don't avoid the hard things. Do them anyway, because every difficult choice you make is building your strength, your mindset, your character, and your future. Most people think control means controlling others, but it's not about that. It's about controlling yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your energy. Because when you control your inner world, your outer world starts to change. When you control your attitude, your environment responds differently. When you control your focus, distractions lose their power. And when you control your emotions, negativity can't shake you. So practice control on the inside, and the outside will follow, because success begins with mastery of self, not mastery of circumstances. And sometimes control means letting go of what no longer serves you. It means releasing toxic people, old habits, limiting beliefs. It means creating space for new opportunities, because you can't take control of your future while holding on to the pain of your past. You can't move forward with both feet stuck in yesterday. So forgive yourself, forgive others, and free yourself from what's holding you down, because freedom is the foundation of focus. And once you're free, you can finally move with direction. Taking control of your life also means redefining what success means to you, because too many people chase what looks good instead of what feels right. They measure their worth by comparison, by likes, by validation, but true success is peace of mind. It's waking up with purpose. It's living aligned with your values. It's building something that fulfills you, not just something that impresses others. So take time to ask yourself, what do I really want? Not what looks good, not what others expect, but what fulfills me. And once you find that answer, build your life around it. Because alignment is the purest form of control. When your actions match your values, you live with power. When you start taking control, you'll notice resistance, not just from the world, but from within yourself. Your comfort zone will whisper, stay here. Your fear will scream, you're not ready. But you have to silence those voices with actions. You have to remind yourself that fear is just a sign you're growing, that discomfort is proof you're evolving, and that every step forward, no matter how small, is still movement, still progress, still power. Because control isn't built overnight. It's built one choice at a time, one day at a time, one decision at a time. So keep going, even when it's slow, because slow progress is still progress. And that's what taking control looks like. You can't unlock success without patience, because growth takes time. And in that time, life will test you. It will delay you. It will make you question everything. But patience teaches strength. It teaches focus. It teaches wisdom. And when you combine patience with persistence, you become unstoppable. Because most people quit not because they can't, but because they won't wait long enough to see the results. But if you keep going, keep believing, keep working, the same time that broke others will build you. And that's how success finds you, not because you were lucky, but because you refuse to give up. The more you take control, the more you'll realize that success isn't just about achievement, it's about awareness. It's about knowing who you are and what you're capable of. It's about being intentional with your choices and refusing to live life on autopilot, because when you live intentionally, every moment becomes meaningful. Every decision carries weight. Every failure teaches, and every victory humbles. You stop living by chance and start living by choice. You stop existing and start evolving. Because control isn't loud. It's silent strength. It's calm focus. It's knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. You can adjust. You can rebuild. And you can rise again. You take control when you wake up every day and decide that your attitude will not be controlled by circumstances. Your joy will not be dictated by chaos. Your peace will not be stolen by negativity. Because control is about protecting your inner space. It's about choosing calm when others choose drama, choosing faith when others choose fear, choosing effort when others choose excuses. Because how you respond determines what happens next. Life may throw challenges at you, but your reaction writes the story. And when you respond with strength, discipline, and gratitude, life starts bending in your favor. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start, because that moment doesn't exist. The perfect moment is the one you decide to take action right where you are with what you have, because control grows from courage, not from comfort. And if you keep waiting for conditions to be right, you'll miss the chance to build your wings in the storm. So start now with fear, with doubt, with uncertainty, because movement creates clarity, action creates confidence, and every step you take teaches you something new about your power, your potential, and your purpose. When you take control, you realize success is not a straight road. It's a climb filled with turns, setbacks, delays, and detours. But those detours are not punishment. They are preparation. They are shaping you, strengthening you, teaching you the patience you'll need for bigger blessings, because everything you go through is connected to where you're going. Nothing is wasted, no lesson, no pain, no tear. All of it is building the version of you that's strong enough to handle the success that's coming. So trust the process, even when you can't see the progress. Because faith is not about seeing the destination, it's about believing in the journey. Taking control means learning how to talk to yourself differently, because the voice in your head is the loudest one you'll ever hear. And if you keep speaking defeat, you'll keep living it. So start speaking victory. Even before you see it, start speaking healing, success, peace, power, because your words shape your world. What you repeat becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes what you experience. So talk to yourself like someone who matters, like someone capable, like someone destined for more, because that's who you are. Even if you can't see it yet, speak it until it becomes real. There will be days when you question your path, when you wonder if all your effort is worth it, and those are the days you have to remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself of the vision that burns in your heart. Remind yourself that growth is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to challenge your comfort, because every time you feel uncomfortable, you're expanding, you're evolving, you're unlocking a new level of strength within you. So don't run from the hard days. Face them, because those are the days that build champions. When you take control of your life, you also take control of your circle, because energy is contagious and you can't grow around people who don't want to see you win. So protect your space. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, push you to do better, not those who feed your doubts or distract your purpose, because your environment shapes your energy and your energy shapes your future. So if you want to rise, walk with those who climb, not those who complain. And when you find those who bring peace, loyalty, and positivity, hold them close, because they're part of your strength. To unlock success, you must understand the power of gratitude, because gratitude turns what you have into enough, and enough into abundance. It keeps you grounded while you grow. It keeps you humble while you succeed. And it keeps your heart open while you face trials, because the more thankful you are, the more the universe gives you reasons to be thankful. So never forget to pause, to breathe, to say thank you for the progress, even if it's small, for the lessons, even if they hurt, for the blessings, even if they came disguised as struggles. Because gratitude is not just good manners. It's magnetic energy. It attracts better. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who prepare, to those who stay ready, because opportunities don't knock twice. And when preparation meets opportunity, that's when breakthroughs happen. So use your time wisely, invest in your growth, sharpen your skills, build your character, because when the door opens, you won't have time to get ready. You'll have to be ready, and that's what control is about, not waiting for chances, but creating them, not hoping for miracles, but becoming the miracle through persistence and purpose. When you take control, you stop living in the past, you stop replaying what went wrong and start focusing on what can go right, because the past is a lesson, not a life sentence, and the future is a canvas waiting for your courage to paint it. So don't waste today wishing for yesterday. Use today to build tomorrow, because this moment right here, right now, is all you truly control. And when you give your best to this moment, the next one gets better automatically, because success is not found in someday. It's found in today, in now, in the decision to give your all even when no one's watching. You were not born to drift. You were born to direct. You were not born to follow. You were born to lead your own life. And that leadership starts with mastering yourself, mastering your thoughts, your words, your habits, your focus. Because leadership begins at home, inside your own soul. And when you learn to lead yourself with faith and purpose, life will start following your command, doors will open, paths will clear, and blessings will align, not because luck favored you, but because discipline and belief did. So when you wake up tomorrow, remind yourself that control doesn't come from force. It comes from choice. It comes from the decision to be intentional with how you live, how you love, how you speak, and how you grow. And the more you choose growth over comfort, faith over fear, purpose over distraction, the more unstoppable you become. Because real control isn't about having everything figured out. It's about trusting that whatever happens, you'll figure it out. And when you live like that, fear loses its voice, failure loses its power, and your destiny starts to shine. You have the power to rewrite your story, to rebuild your confidence, to reclaim your time, to reprogram your thoughts, to redirect your energy, to reinvent your life. And it starts today. It starts the moment you say, I am in charge, I am capable, I am enough, because the truth is, you've always been enough. You just needed to believe it. And once you do, once you take control, once you unlock that strength inside you, there is nothing in this world that can stop you from becoming everything you were created to be. So rise up, take control, and unlock the success that's been waiting for you all along, because your time is not coming, your time is already here. And it begins the moment you decide. Your life changes the moment you decide to take full responsibility for it. Because as long as you keep waiting for someone to fix you, to rescue you, to believe in you more than you believe in yourself, you will keep standing still while life passes you by. And the truth is, nobody is coming. Nobody is going to live your dream for you. Nobody is going to fight your battle for you. You have to be the one who says enough is enough. I'm done blaming. I'm done complaining. I'm done waiting for perfect. It's my turn to move. It's my turn to rise. Because the moment you stop pointing fingers and start taking control, something powerful awakens inside you, something that says, I may not control what happened to me, but I control what happens next. I may not choose the storm, but I can choose how I sail through it. And that shift in thinking changes everything. You see, life doesn't give you what you wish for. It gives you what you work for. It gives you what you take responsibility for. And most people don't fail because they don't have potential. They fail because they refuse to own their choices. They blame luck. They blame others. They blame timing. But the ones who rise, the ones who build something extraordinary, are the ones who take ownership even when it hurts, even when it means admitting they were wrong, even when it means starting again from nothing, because when you take responsibility, you take your power back. And nothing is stronger than a person who knows that everything they need to win is already within them. Responsibility is freedom, not punishment, because when you stop waiting for permission, you stop being trapped. When you stop looking outside for validation, you stop being controlled. And when you finally say, my life is mine, my choices are mine, my future is mine, suddenly the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Suddenly the limits you thought were holding you disappear because you realize they were never real. They were only reflections of your own fear, your own hesitation, your own disbelief in what you could do if you truly gave it your all. The truth is, life gets better the moment you stop making excuses, because excuses sound good to the ears, but they destroy the soul. They make you comfortable in your struggle. They make you defend your pain instead of fight it. They make you explain your failure instead of overcome it. But the day you take responsibility, you stop explaining and start executing. You stop defending and start deciding. You stop surviving and start living. Because the only way to rise is to face your truth head on and say, yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I failed. But those failures don't define me. They refine me. They made me wiser, tougher, and hungrier for what's next. Taking responsibility means you refuse to let your past become your prison. It means you stop carrying guilt for who you used to be, because the past was a lesson, not a life sentence, and you have the power to change your direction at any moment, one decision at a time, one day at a time, because every small act of responsibility builds a bigger future. Every choice to act instead of complain builds a foundation that cannot be shaken. And soon you start seeing progress, not because life suddenly got easier, but because you got stronger, you got clearer. You stopped giving your power away to things you couldn't control and focused it on what you could. And that's where real transformation begins. People spend their whole lives waiting for the right circumstances, waiting for someone to notice their effort, waiting for the right opportunity. But those who take responsibility don't wait. They create. They create opportunities through faith, through hard work, through persistence, through showing up when nobody claps, through doing the work when nobody watches. And that's why they rise, because they understand that control is not about luck. It's about consistency. It's about discipline. It's about owning your effort, even when the results haven't shown up yet, because results are the reward of ownership. And ownership begins the moment you stop blaming and start believing. When you decide to take full responsibility, your mindset changes. You stop seeing problems as punishments and start seeing them as possibilities. You stop asking why me and start asking what can I learn. You stop fearing challenges and start embracing growth because you understand that everything that happens to you is not meant to break you. It's meant to shape you, to prepare you for what you've been praying for. And sometimes responsibility looks like standing up again after being knocked down 1,000 times. It looks like forgiving yourself for not knowing better before. And it looks like saying today, I will not waste another second wishing for easier. I will build stronger. Taking responsibility also means setting boundaries. It means protecting your peace, your energy, and your focus, because when you own your life, you stop letting people pull you into their chaos. You stop giving your time to what drains you, and you start investing in what grows you. You stop letting other people's drama become your distraction, and you start building the life you were meant to live, because you finally realize that you don't owe anyone your peace, your dreams, or your purpose, but you do owe it to yourself to give life everything you've got. And when you do that, you start to see how powerful you truly are. Most people don't understand that their life is a mirror of their responsibility. If you see chaos, you've allowed chaos. If you see peace, you've created peace. And if you see progress, it's because you've taken charge of your habits, your words, your time, because what you repeat, you become, and what you tolerate, you attract. So if you want to change your life, you have to change your standards. You have to stop accepting less than what you deserve. Stop entertaining people who drain your joy. Stop repeating patterns that bring pain. And start acting like the person you want to become, not the person you used to be. Because responsibility is the bridge between who you are and who you can be. And once you cross it, you never go back to blaming again. You can't rise if you keep running from accountability. You can't grow if you keep protecting your comfort zone. And you can't succeed if you keep pretending that life owes you something, because life owes you nothing, but it will reward you for everything you take ownership of. Every morning you wake up and say, I'm going to show up. No matter how I feel, I'm going to give my best. No matter how hard it gets, I'm going to believe in myself, even when nobody else does. And when you live like that, responsibility stops feeling heavy and starts feeling powerful, because you realize that control over your life is the greatest privilege you'll ever have. When you take full responsibility, you stop fearing failure, because you know that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. It's information, it's guidance, it's growth. And you stop worrying about how long it takes, because you understand that real success isn't instant. It's built brick by brick, day by day, with responsibility as the foundation, because without it, everything crumbles. But with it, nothing can shake you, not loss, not rejection, not struggle, because you've learned that the only thing you truly control in this life is your response, your efforts, your attitude, and your belief, and that's more than enough to rewrite your story. The moment you decide to take full responsibility for your life, you start to see every obstacle differently. You stop looking at your problems as things that happen to you and start seeing them as things that happen for you, to test you, to stretch you, to prepare you for the level you say you want. Because if you keep asking for more without being ready to handle it, you'll lose it as fast as you get it. But when you take responsibility, you start preparing for the blessing. You start acting like the person who deserves it long before it arrives. And that's when everything begins to shift, because life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you prepare for. Taking responsibility means showing up even when you're tired. It means being consistent even when motivation is gone. It means waking up early to work on your goals even when no one is watching. It means choosing to build discipline over comfort, because success is never built in comfort. It's built in challenge. It's built in moments when you push through your own limits. And when you do that day after day, responsibility becomes your power, not your burden, because every choice you make to show up strengthens your belief in yourself. And that belief becomes unstoppable once it's fueled by action, not just words. Most people spend their lives trying to control everything around them while ignoring the one thing they truly can control. Themselves. They try to control people, outcomes, timing. But the real control is internal. It's about mastering your emotions, your habits, your thoughts. Because once you take control of that, the world can't move you, opinions can't shake you, circumstances can't define you, because you've built a foundation so strong inside that no storm outside can destroy it. And that's what responsibility really gives you: peace, power, clarity. Because when you take ownership, you stop being reactive and start being intentional. You stop living by accident and start living by design. When you start taking responsibility, you start realizing how much time you've wasted waiting for validation, waiting for someone to tell you you're good enough. And then you understand that the only approval you ever needed was your own. Because when you approve of yourself, you stop chasing people who don't see your worth. You stop begging for opportunities. You stop comparing your journey to others, because you understand that your race is yours alone. Your pace is yours alone, and the only person you need to beat is the one you were yesterday, and that simple shift changes everything. It makes you unstoppable because you no longer compete, you create. You no longer seek acceptance, you embody confidence. You no longer wait for direction, you set your own course. And that's the power of responsibility. It puts your life back in your hands. When you take full responsibility, you stop living in denial, because denial is the enemy of growth. It keeps you stuck in the same patterns while blaming everyone else for your pain. But when you face the truth, no matter how hard it is, you give yourself the chance to heal, to grow, to rise, because you can't fix what you refuse to face. And the strongest people aren't those who never fall. They're the ones who take responsibility for their fall and still find the strength to stand again, to rebuild again, to believe again, because they understand that responsibility is not about guilt, it's about growth. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, yes, I made mistakes, but I will not be defined by them. I will be refined through them. Taking responsibility also means taking charge of your energy, because you can't build a powerful life with weak energy. You can't attract abundance with a complaining spirit. You can't create happiness while holding on to anger. So you have to take ownership of what you allow in your space, who you allow in your circle, what thoughts you entertain, because everything you allow shapes your direction. And once you understand that, you stop letting negativity drain you, you stop feeding conversations that don't serve you, and you start protecting your purpose like it's sacred, because it is. Your purpose is the most valuable thing you own, and responsibility is what keeps it alive. You learn to stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline, because motivation fades, but discipline builds. It builds habits. Habits build consistency, and consistency builds success. So when you take responsibility, you stop saying, I'll do it when I feel ready, because you realize you'll never feel ready. You just have to start. You just have to move. You just have to trust that if you show up daily, the strength, the clarity, the opportunity will meet you halfway, because responsibility and faith walk hand in hand. Faith to start and responsibility to keep going even when it's hard. When you take responsibility, your language changes. You stop saying I can't and start saying I can figure it out. You stop saying I'll try and start saying I will, because words are seeds. And when you start speaking responsibility into your life, you start reaping confidence. When you start saying I'm in charge, life starts to follow your lead, because the universe responds to energy, and the energy of responsibility is powerful. It's focused, it's determined, it's unshakable. And once you start walking in it, you start attracting better. You start living better, because you're no longer waiting, you're working, you're building, you're becoming. Taking responsibility also means taking care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, because you can't lead your life from a place of exhaustion. You can't make wise decisions from a place of chaos. So you have to be intentional about your peace. You have to be responsible for your rest, for your boundaries, for your healing, because nobody else can do that for you. And when you start treating your peace as a priority, you start operating from power, not pressure, from purpose, not pain. And that's where your greatest breakthroughs come from, not from burnout, but from balance, from alignment, from being fully present in your own life. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It means you're willing to figure it out. It means you stop quitting every time things get uncomfortable, because you understand that growth and comfort don't coexist, and you'd rather grow than stay stuck, because being stuck hurts worse than failing. And once you realize that, you stop fearing change and start chasing it, because you understand that change is proof that you're alive, and responsibility is proof that you're growing. And the more you grow, the more control you gain over your destiny. You learn that not everything that happens is your fault, but it is your responsibility to respond in a way that leads you forward. You learn that forgiveness isn't about them, it's about freeing yourself, and you learn that complaining doesn't change anything, but action does, focus does, faith does. Because the moment you take responsibility, you stop wasting energy on what you can't control and start investing it into what you can. And that's where your power multiplies. That's where you start seeing results that once felt impossible, because responsibility turns potential into power, dreams into plans, and pain into progress. So many people live life as if they're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect relationship, the perfect job, the perfect time. But responsibility teaches you that perfection doesn't exist. Only progress does, and progress begins the day you stop waiting, the day you stop saying someday and start saying today, because the secret to change is not waiting for things to get better. It's deciding to be better now, deciding to act now, deciding to own your journey. Now, in every small, responsible choice you make compounds into greatness. It compounds into a life that reflects your efforts, your faith, your strength, and your belief. You will fall, you will fail, you will have moments of doubt, but responsibility means you keep getting up, you keep learning, you keep showing up. Because no matter what happens, you know that you hold the pen, you are the author, and as long as you keep writing, the story isn't over. As long as you keep believing, the dream is still alive. And as long as you take responsibility, you'll always find your way forward, because nothing can defeat a person who refuses to give their power away. That's what responsibility truly is. Power, peace, freedom. It's the quiet strength that turns fear into fuel, failure into wisdom, and doubt into direction. It's the realization that life doesn't change when others treat you better. It changes when you treat yourself better, when you show up for yourself fully, when you own your time, your choices, your future. Because once you do that, you stop surviving and start thriving. You stop wishing and start working. You stop existing and start living. And that's where the real transformation begins. That's where your best life starts. It's the day you decide to take full responsibility for it. Discipline, not motivation, is the bridge between dreams and success, because motivation is a feeling and feelings fade, but discipline is a decision, and decisions define destinies. Motivation may get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement wears off, when the crowd stops clapping, when the applause turns to silence. Discipline is what separates the talkers from the doers, the dreamers from the achievers, because everybody wants success until they see what it costs. Everybody loves the idea of winning, but not everybody is willing to pay the price, and that price is consistency, focus, and daily effort, even when it hurts, even when you're tired, even when nothing seems to be working. Because success doesn't belong to the most inspired, it belongs to the most committed. Motivation is like a spark. It can light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning. Motivation might get you out of bed one morning, but discipline makes sure you get up every morning. Motivation makes you say, I'll try. Discipline makes you say, I will. Motivation disappears when life gets heavy, but discipline carries you through the weight, through the storms, through the silence. Because discipline is loyalty to your vision when your emotions betray you. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when your heart doesn't feel like it, even when your mind tries to talk you out of it. Because the truth is, you can't build success on how you feel, you build it on what you do repeatedly. There's a reason so many people start strong but finish weak, because they rely on motivation, and motivation is fragile, it's inconsistent, it depends on the mood, on the weather, on the approval of others. But discipline doesn't care about moods, discipline doesn't need applause, discipline doesn't ask permission. It just acts, it just shows up, it just does the work, because discipline understands that results are not emotional, results are mathematical. They are built on effort multiplied by time. And the people who master discipline know that if they stay consistent long enough, success has no choice but to surrender, because discipline always outlasts doubt. You see, motivation is loud. It shouts when things feel easy, when the goal is shiny, but discipline whispers. When the road gets hard, it whispers, keep going when nobody notices. It whispers, stay focused when distractions call your name. It whispers, one more step, one more rep, one more try, and those whispers become habits. Those habits become strengths. And that strength builds a life that motivation alone could never create, because discipline is quiet power. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's always effective. It's always moving you closer to what you said you wanted long after the mood to want it is gone. Discipline doesn't ask you to feel ready. It asks you to be responsible. It asks you to show up no matter what, because life will not always be convenient. The timing will not always be perfect, but your consistency has to be, your focus has to be, your effort has to be, because the moment you let emotions lead you, you lose control. But the moment you let discipline lead you, you take control, and control is the foundation of success, control of your time, your habits, your attitude, your reactions. Because when you master discipline, you master yourself, and when you master yourself, you can master anything. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about preparation. It's about preparing yourself to handle what you prayed for, because dreams without discipline are just illusions. They sound good, but they have no foundation. They look beautiful from afar, but they fall apart up close, because without discipline, you can't sustain success, you can't carry the weight of greatness, you can't lead, build, or inspire, because all of those things require consistency, and consistency is built on discipline, not desire, not luck, not talent, but daily, deliberate action. And that's why discipline is sacred. It's the muscle that holds your purpose in place. When you choose discipline, you choose growth over comfort. You choose long-term peace over short-term pleasure. You choose to do what's right instead of what's easy. And that's what separates winners from wishers, because wishers want to feel good before they act, but winners act until it feels good to win. They don't chase feelings, they chase progress, and the crazy thing about progress is that it doesn't come from big leaps. It comes from small steps repeated every single day. It comes from doing the same small thing so many times that it becomes automatic, effortless, natural, and that's what discipline does. It rewires your habits. It trains your mind to perform even when motivation has gone missing. The problem with motivation is that it depends on external things. A song, a speech, a quote, a moment, but discipline depends on internal standards, on principles, on personal integrity. It's about doing the right thing even when no one is watching, even when there's no camera, no audience, or no recognition, because real success is built in the dark. When no one sees your grind, no one sees your effort, no one sees the sacrifices you make. But discipline keeps you going anyway, because you're not doing it for validation, you're doing it for evolution. You're doing it because you promised yourself you would, and keeping that promise builds self-respect. And self-respect builds confidence, and confidence builds momentum. Discipline is what gives you peace of mind when things get hard, because when you know you're doing the work, when you know you're giving your best, you don't have to fear failure, you don't have to fear judgment, because discipline teaches you that you can fail and still move forward. You can fall and still rise. You can struggle and still grow, because discipline is stronger than disappointment. It's stronger than rejection. It's stronger than fatigue. And once you develop it, life can't break you the same way anymore, because you stop depending on motivation to save you and you start depending on discipline to guide you. When you build discipline, You stop negotiating with your goals. You stop making excuses for why you can't, and you start finding reasons for why you must, because you understand that success doesn't wait for the motivated. It rewards the consistent, and every time you choose discipline, you're building a version of yourself that your future will thank you for. You're building strength that doesn't shake, focus that doesn't fade, and habits that don't fail. Because the truth is, your future is being shaped every day by what you choose repeatedly, not what you say occasionally. And discipline ensures that those choices move you closer to greatness. Discipline doesn't care about your comfort zone, because comfort is where dreams die. It's where ambition gets lazy. It's where potential gets wasted. And that's why disciplined people live differently. They wake up when others sleep. They work when others rest. They sacrifice when others complain. Because they understand that discipline is not about working harder than everyone else. It's about staying consistent longer than everyone else. It's about showing up long after others quit. It's about doing what others aren't willing to do so you can live the way others can't. And that's what makes the difference. Not talent, not luck, but relentless discipline. Discipline doesn't give you instant results. It gives you lasting ones, because what comes fast rarely stays, and what's built slow never breaks. Discipline is slow, but it's strong. It's quiet, but it's powerful. It doesn't scream for attention. It earns respect over time, because every day you show up, every time you push through, you're building something invisible inside you, a strength that no one can take away, a mindset that no failure can destroy. And that's why the disciplined win, not because life is easier for them, but because they're stronger than their excuses. You see, motivation will tell you to believe in yourself, but discipline teaches you how to prove it. Motivation will say, dream big, but discipline will ask, what are you doing daily to build that dream? Motivation will tell you that you can. Discipline will show you that you will, because discipline is the action behind belief. It's the evidence of faith. It's the proof that you mean what you say. And talk is cheap until action shows up, because anybody can say they want change, but discipline is the only thing that turns that want into reality. Discipline makes you honest with yourself, because it forces you to face your habits, your weaknesses, your patterns. It doesn't let you hide behind excuses or feelings. It looks you in the eye and says, if you want this, prove it. If you want to grow, earn it. If you want success, show up for it. And that's the part most people avoid, because discipline exposes what motivation hides. Motivation can make you feel like you're progressing even when you're not doing anything. But discipline doesn't care about feelings. It only counts what's real, what's done, what's earned. The more disciplined you become, the less you depend on luck, because luck might get you there once, but discipline keeps you there forever. Discipline gives you control over your destiny. It makes you the architect of your life, not a victim of your emotions. Because when you live by discipline, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You start creating it. You stop wishing for the right opportunity. You start building it, because success isn't something that just shows up. It's something that's attracted to effort, to focus, to persistence. And discipline is the magnet that draws it closer every single day. Discipline is not built in a day. It's built in the repetition of ordinary days, when no one is watching, when nothing exciting is happening, when it feels like nothing is changing, but you keep going anyway, because you understand that every rep counts, every step matters, every act of consistency adds up, and one day, when the results finally show, people will call you lucky, but you'll know it was never luck. It was discipline disguised as patience. It was daily effort disguised as faith. It was small, consistent actions that grew into massive outcomes. Discipline is a form of love, not just self-control, but self-respect, because when you discipline yourself, you're telling your future that it matters. You're telling your purpose that it's worth the pain. You're telling your dreams that they deserve your effort. And that's love in its truest form, because real love doesn't give you everything easy. It prepares you to handle everything hard. And that's what discipline does. It builds emotional endurance. It teaches you how to keep going when your heart is heavy, when your mind is tired, when your faith is tested. Because discipline doesn't break under pressure, it becomes sharper, wiser, stronger. People often say they don't have discipline, but that's not true. Everyone has discipline for something. Some people are disciplined in wasting time. Some are disciplined in complaining. Others are disciplined in distractions. The question is never do you have discipline. The question is what are you disciplined in? Because whatever you practice daily becomes your reality. So if you can train your mind to wake up early for what doesn't matter, you can train it to wake up early for what does. If you can stay consistent in your bad habits, you can stay consistent in better ones, because discipline is not about perfection, it's about direction, it's about choosing progress over excuses every single day. Discipline is not glamorous, it's not pretty, it's often lonely, it's repetitive, it's boring at times, but it's the foundation of mastery, because greatness doesn't come from doing big things occasionally. It comes from doing small things perfectly over and over again. It comes from showing up on the days you least feel like it. Because that's when growth happens, when it's no longer fun, but you still do it when it's no longer new. But you still give it your all when it's no longer easy, but you still refuse to quit. That's where character is born. That's where greatness is shaped. That's where discipline turns average people into extraordinary ones. The world celebrates results but ignores routine. Yet it's routine that creates results. It's the behind the scenes habits that build front page success. It's the unseen effort that creates the visible achievement, and discipline is the bridge between both. It's what carries you from potential to performance, from dreaming to doing, because dreams without discipline die in the mind. They never make it to the world. They never become impact. And that's why discipline isn't optional if you want to change your life. It's essential. It's oxygen for success. Without it, your potential suffocates. Discipline teaches you humility too, because it reminds you that success takes time. It reminds you that nothing great comes easy. It reminds you that you have to be a student before you can be a master. And that's why disciplined people don't chase shortcuts. They don't rush the process, because they understand that shortcuts create short success, and long success requires long patience. And discipline gives you that patience. It teaches you to trust the process, to trust your consistency, to trust that even if today doesn't show results, tomorrow will, as long as you keep moving forward. Discipline also brings freedom, not restriction, because when you discipline your habits, you free yourself from chaos. When you discipline your time, you free yourself from procrastination. When you discipline your emotions, you free yourself from regret. Discipline doesn't cage you. It protects you. It doesn't take your freedom. It gives you real freedom, the kind that comes from control, from mastery, from self-respect, because the most powerful person in any room is not the loudest. It's the one who can control themselves, the one who can stay calm, focused, and consistent no matter what's happening around them. That's the power discipline gives you. When you look at people who have achieved extraordinary things, it's never because they were constantly motivated, it's because they were constantly disciplined. They didn't wake up every day excited. They woke up every day committed. They didn't always feel strong, but they acted strong anyway, because discipline doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what you value. And when your values are strong enough, your emotions can't move you off track. That's why discipline is not just a habit. It's a lifestyle. It's a mindset. It's a daily commitment to stay loyal to your purpose, no matter how you feel. The truth is, discipline hurts. It hurts to wake up early. It hurts to work hard. It hurts to say no to distractions. It hurts to keep going when everyone else quits. But regret hurts more. Failure hurts more. Wondering what could have been hurts more. And discipline is the pain that leads to pride, while regret is the pain that leads to guilt. So if you must choose your pain, choose the one that pays you backwards. Choose the one that builds you. Choose discipline. Because discipline is not the enemy. It's the weapon that life gives you to win every battle between who you are and who you're meant to be. Every act of discipline is a seed planted in your future. And one day, those seeds grow into blessings you can't even imagine yet. Every time you stay focused instead of distracted, every time you show up instead of sleeping in, every time you keep going instead of quitting, you're watering that seed. You're building a life of purpose, of stability, of strength. And the best part is, the more disciplined you become, the easier it gets, because what once felt heavy becomes habit. What once felt impossible becomes normal. And that's when you realize discipline didn't just change your actions, it changed your identity. Discipline makes you unstoppable, not because you never fail, but because you never stop. You keep moving forward no matter what. And that's what separates success stories from excuses, because life will always test your patience, your faith, your efforts. But discipline ensures you don't break under the test. You bend, you adapt, you learn, but you don't quit. And that's why the disciplined always rise. Maybe not the fastest, but the strongest. Because when you build something through discipline, it lasts, it's unshakable, it's rooted deep. And no setback, no doubt, no failure can destroy what you've built with consistency and resilience. So every time you feel unmotivated, remember this: you don't need to feel ready. You just need to stay disciplined, because motivation may knock once, but discipline will open the door every day. Motivation may give you a reason, but discipline gives you results. Motivation may spark your fire, but discipline keeps it burning when the world goes dark. And that's how you win. That's how you grow. That's how you transform dreams into reality, not by chasing feelings, but by honoring your commitment every single day until your success becomes undeniable, until your results speak louder than your excuses, until the life you live becomes the proof of your discipline.